Well, I'd like to start by saying that our welcome to Grand Cayman and the Cayman International School has been nothing but warm and embracing. Our first steps onto campus were an accompaniment to a delightful steel pan band playing with the Saintsville marching in. In any case, it was a wonderful way to see your students in action. We're delighted to experience the elementary and middle school students playing with such abandon, even at an early hour of the day. In our opening session, we were educated about the principles that you've identified and adopted as core values by enthusiastic students, and then provided insightful tours by the same. Everything about our visit has been just as good. I'd like to start by sharing with you some of the things that your students say about you. Our teachers really care about us. They're like your friends. We're a small school and everyone knows everyone. We're a family. Teachers tell us about kindness from a young age and about how they view leadership. Leadership is a means of exercising kindness. Leadership is a means of exercising collaboration, empathy, relationship building, communication and compromise, failure, and learning from that. One word that they would use to describe CIS: community, warm, cheerful, open-minded, welcoming, grit, kindness, inclusive, and going above and beyond. And if a tree is known by its fruit, you have much about which to be proud. Those are some very wise words from young people. So I'd like to start by saying a few words about your foundation documents. The way that you've created what we refer to as foundation documents, formally your mission, your beliefs, and your graduate profile, is far more comprehensive and integrated than we have found in many schools. Connect, inspire, and serve. Words by which to live and to be challenged. But you give them context and flesh in your paradigms document that's rich and would be ill-served by my attempt to summarize them. Suffice it to say that we found evidence everywhere that people know the 3 C's and the 8 principles. Students, teachers, and staff spoke about them with eloquence and passion. We found evidence of the embrace of the characteristics of the graduate from pre-K all the way through grade 12, in lessons, and in units, and in assessments, and assemblies. You have more than mere words on posters, though those are everywhere in the buildings. You've got a culture that's widely embraced. In terms of the standards in the review process, the process that you elected to engage in is a thorough and a comprehensive one, made all the more so by your integration of the strategic planning process into the self-study. Excellence by design requires you to review and establish the ways that you meet all 12 of the middle state standards. And we were impressed with the openness and the honesty we found in all stakeholders regarding that process. You secured input from all stakeholders and engaged in critical self-examination. I'll say a few more words about that as we move forward in the remarks. You created for yourself 3 worthwhile goals that certainly tied to your hopes for continuous school improvement. As one of your administrators noted, it wasn't easy to identify areas of improvement. We had to be honest with ourselves about how to improve, and we would agree. In terms of process, you had an incredibly large pool of people on your planning team, and we were pleased to see a wide variety of opinions offered on virtually every subject. There was a sense from everybody, especially students and parents, that all voices were welcome in the process. When you made the strategic decision to funnel all decisions through the 8 core principles you identified for yourself, it appears that decision-making was greatly facilitated. For the record, community principles of kindness and partnership, of sustainability and good intent, learning principles of language and ownership and nature and context. Your shift to viewing all of these things, all things, through your definition of learning and these lenses or the ecosystem was a bold initiative that we as your team believe is percolated into virtually every aspect of your school life. Excellence by design requires that schools continually maintain adherence to the 12 standards, and we believe that there are mechanisms in place here to guarantee that you'll do so. However, the protocol also requires that there's a regular review of progress on the goals that you've established and in reporting mechanisms in place. In conversations with your internal coordinators and planning team, it seems that you've yet to formalize the mechanism for doing so here, and so that would be an immediate next step for the school to take. Schools have a lot of different names, whatever that group happens to be, but it can't be left to one or two people to do. You'll need to keep records of your meetings and be able to provide documentation for your midpoint review, and then again, as you did for this cycle, when you move into your next cycle of accreditation. We're confident that you already have many of the systems in place that will enable you to do this with relative ease, so we simply recommend that you formalize those into a structure that will allow for monitoring by all stakeholders of your growth, of the changes in your plans that you need to make, and to celebrate the milestones that you reach and to share the good news with all your stakeholders. A few key strengths. We saw an evidence of fierce dedication to student education in the fullest sense, to an embrace of each young person as an individual with unique talents and abilities waiting to be unleashed. We are encouraged by your bold vision of education as rooted in an ecosystem that's comprehensive. I won't attempt to summarize the whole of that universe, but you've crafted, suffice it to say that we see significant evidence of how it's transforming the culture, the processes, and the outcomes here at your school. Planning is clearly also a strength at CIS. Your integration of Middle States accreditation with your strategic plan offers opportunities for synergy that are often missed. It will require careful attention to maintain focus on so many transforming elements of the school taking place simultaneously. As you move forward, admittedly with some fits and starts to a comprehensive standards-based approach to assessment, you'll doubtless face challenges from without, university expectations, parental concerns, and within, professional development, time and space limitations, your expanding campus and community. Your planning team was admirably shepherded by powerful leaders who were tremendously organized. The collection of supporting data was unlike any that I've seen in any of the visits that I've been on. So hats off to your internal coordinators for that. So we'd urge you to create that formal group that will carry on the work of the planning team to maintain records of progress and changes to the plan, and to find ways to solicit ongoing input into the plan from all your stakeholders, just as you did in creating the plan for growth. Related to that, we found that some of your action plans could use a little more fleshing out. It's not expected that you provide us with a 7-year set of plans, though in broad outlines you have done that. Since your objectives are so closely aligned with your institutional processes for curriculum review and revision, we're confident that the necessary changes will make their way into your plans. We encourage you to document those changes and revise your plans, and create a mechanism for reporting those changes, successes, obstacles encountered along the way. With reference to the 12 standards, our team is unanimously of the opinion that you meet all of them. However, we would like to offer some suggestions for further reflection. Excellence by Design invites peers to come to your school to see what you see and to hear what you hear and to try to bring another set of insight to what we experience. And so our recommendations simply echo back some of the things that we heard from you, some of the things that we saw, and recommendations are just that. They're recommendations. They're for you to decide what's best in your school. So the first would be practicing an emergency evacuation drill, where you take all of the folks on campus and move off to another site. It's a rather difficult undertaking. The second would be perimeter security. It's clearly a concern of your board, your administration, your parents, and we echo that concern and urge you to work with your landlord to find mutually acceptable remedies. Communications. Every school that I go to has an issue with communications. We had a parent who said to us that reading the Weekly Current was trying to take a sip of water from a fire hydrant. So it's not that you're not communicating, it's just that sometimes there's so much information coming, it's difficult to process. He himself said, part of it's my fault. I'm lazy and I don't really do what I need to do. That's kind of an amazing thing from a parent. But so finding ways to channel that information, it's a sense from some parents out there. Parents also shared that they sensed that their children were happy in making progress at school. However, they expressed concern that they weren't aware of how CIS educational standards compared to internationally recognized exams and how this might affect university choices. So you may want to consider articulating your standards and communicating them effectively to the parent body. I'm sure you're already doing that in lots of ways. Sometimes parents aren't hearing what you're saying. Some of those numbers are difficult to process. What does it mean to get a 3 or a 4? They're used to A and B and C. so helping articulate that. You identified 3 goals for yourselves, and we know that you have many more hopes and dreams for improvement as well, and we'll offer a few ideas about each of your goals in the written report. But for now, we'd like to emphasize that there doesn't seem to be as wide an awareness about those goals as we might like to see among the school community. So we encourage you to take those things and to get them out in front of the whole school community. It's important that everyone continues to work on what those goals are, to understand the steps that need to be taken to move forward in progress, and to share the successes with us. We'll make some similar remarks with reference to the action plans. So people always want to know, kids always want to know, how do you do? The process is critical, but so is the product. And so we're pleased to share with you that we will be recommending that you are re-accredited for 7 years by the Middle States Association. You should give yourself a hand. There are a few important next steps that I'd like to outline. You need to continue to maintain adherence to the 12 standards of the Middle States Association. You need to implement your plan for growth and improvement. You need to submit an annual profile and nominations for faculty who will go out and serve on other visiting teams. You need to conduct periodic reviews of the plan for growth and improvement. You'll need in 3.5 years to complete a midpoint review and to submit documentation. So if you've been doing that all along, that should be easy. And then in 6 years, begin the whole cycle all over again. Not to be thought about today. I'd like to offer our sincere thanks to everyone who's been part of the process and your willingness to accommodate our every need. Your internal coordinators have done a phenomenal job. As I said before, I've rarely seen such evidence collection in all my many visits. The hard work of the internal coordinators frequently goes unobserved, but they've resulted in an incredible self-study and a really well-done visit to us. So congratulations to Rita and Leanne and to Ben. Thanks to everybody in school leadership. David was more than accessible and helpful in assisting us to understand the unique context of your school. And Jeremy has been simply incredible. Though when we get home, we're going to have to work out for days to shed the pound split on from Cambridge. You have a wonderful family here, simply amazing students who are a wonderful reflection of your deep and meaningful commitment to their growth and maturity. I'd be remiss if I didn't say a few words about the awesome team that I've had a chance to work with for the last few days. They really helped me with my relatively limited understanding of some of the nuances of international schools. But they were bright and insightful and witty and hardworking, and we had a lot of laughs as we worked hard into long hours to try to help you develop the school into the best kind of school that you have. So my sincere thanks to Nicholas, to Katarina, to Nara, and to Mark. It was a pleasure to work with them. So a few final remarks. At the very conclusion of your paradigms document, there's this word Kaizen, and maybe it's appropriate in an international school to use another word from another language to help talk about what you're doing. And there's incredible kanji in that. Kanji always carry so much meaning. So the first, there are 2 in this word, in Japanese anyhow, is indicative of change or flow, and sometimes even to grow. But the form for the second is more complicated. It has to do with speech and speech repeated. So it could be saying a lot, it could be quarreling, it could be quibbling, it could be engaging in debate. And on top of it, there's a character for a ram's head, which is symbolic of an offering. So in its post-World War II application from industrial improvement, it's frequently rendered as continuous improvement. I get weary and afraid about imagery that relates education to factory models, and some of you probably would agree. But kanji are notoriously multivalent, and I believe that one way of talking about Kaizen is continual engagement and discussion about what we are offering, what you are offering, to students, to one another, and to the world. Your paradigms document is all about that, as we believe you are. And so we wish you all the best on your journey toward continual improvement. Connect, inspire, and serve. Thank you.
I just want to reiterate the things that Kevin was saying about the team, each one of them has been extremely accessible and helpful. And this whole process really is about continuous improvement, and for them to come in as expert educators and share with us some of their thoughts and insights and new perspectives about the school is really valuable, and that's what this process is all about. Just as we were walking up here, one of the team members said, wow, we come here for 4 days straight, and we talk to all these people, and we talk to these kids, and at times they've been teary-eyed and talking with some of our kids, and connect with all these people, and then they disappear. But I just say thank you, because that's a testament to all of you and the culture of our school. So, yeah, we're going to celebrate today at the end of the day, and thanks for all the work all of you have done in making this a reality. So thank you.